What time is it?
It's 10:50.
How much time do you have?
10 minutes.
Okay. So Josh Strivers, working on filling up my MCAB and adding more medical supplies has me looking at adding more tourniquets, chest seals, and such. I've always went with the name brand NAR, which is North American Rescue. Sam's, Rats. Is there a difference? Is there a difference other than the price compared to the off-brand Amazon 10 for 30 type? Are we talking about tourniquets? Do not buy off-brand tourniquets. I realize that you get what you pay for, but if you can have 10 in different places instead of one, does a little less quality but similar performance make up the price difference? Or are they like Band-Aids? The name brand ones work good as the knockoffs. So I don't know what we're talking about. If it's tourniquets, don't buy fucking fake tourniquets. Buy real tourniquets. If it's gauze, like packing wound gauze, like for packing a wound channel, fucking just get what you can get, man. You just need to get pressure to stop that bleed, right? And really, there's a lot of dudes that are probably watching this right now that are much more qualified than I am about this. But I don't know what you're asking me. I need you guys to be more specific with the questions, especially like this. So, again, tourniquets. Buy Rats tourniquets. That's not what I meant. You can buy Rats tourniquets, and you should still have some Rats tourniquets. Buy Cat tourniquets. Buy Soft T tourniquets. Buy real tourniquets. There's some little micro ones out there right now that seem really cool. Recon has been rebranded and is coming off of Amazon under another name. I mean, the thing is, they all work until they don't work. The problem is the plastic on the windlass, they're snapping these things. Some of the ribbons, the thin, shiny webbing that's on some of these is breaking. You can see Bear Independent. You can see them fucking snap tourniquets. I know those dudes. They are not fucking making those fail. Those are failing, and when they're going to save somebody's life, they will fucking break. Just buy good tourniquets.
Can you imagine having your wife or your child die because you bought a cheap tourniquet instead of a good one?
So, now, chest seals. Some are going to adhere different than others. Some you can crease, some you can't crease. But in the old days, they would literally take the cellophane off of cigarette packs and use that to plug a chest wound. My father talked about doing that in Vietnam. They had cigarettes. They were putting all kinds of shit over chest wounds. And I don't know that I never even heard him call it a tension pneumothorax. I never even heard him talk about chest seal. I don't think chest seals even existed then, but they were still doing that. So again, chest seals are pretty inexpensive. I buy Hyphen compact chest seals. I buy them off Amazon. They could be fake, maybe. I mean, but if you rip them open, they still seem the same. They're not very expensive. Like, I guess the other question is, what could you delete from your life for a couple of weeks? Is that your stomach?
I haven't eaten.
I was afraid that was my stomach.
No.
To buy what could you just not do for a week or two to buy the extras? Or I don't know what you do for work. What could you do to make a couple extra $100 this week to just go buy that shit, right? So as far as what else goes in there, I mean, are you putting IV bags? Are you putting lactated ringers in there? Are you putting IV starts? There's a ton of medical wholesale companies where you can buy this stuff in bulk, and it is not very expensive. And you, every one of you listening, can go buy from these places. You just have to find the places. But Amazon's a good place to start. I bought a ton of stuff. We had shit coming in from Amazon for 2 weeks straight because I was just buying tons of content just to fill the bags up. So we had them in the trucks, and just to fill the bags up so they were full for video and pictures. And we need to do a video on the MCAB, and we need to do a video on all of our stuff. I've lately, as I'm adding and correcting inventory, I'm realizing that I'm like, we don't even have a real picture of this thing. We have products online that don't even have photos. We still sell out of them somehow. luckily.
Well, because we're showing them pictures somewhere else.
Yeah. So I've been updating that, and we are working on that.
I kind of want to piggyback onto Amanda here because somebody told me this and it made sense to me, but whenever I tell anybody else, they kind of push back on me a little bit. Windlass is a really good tourniquet, but it's not going to fit a kid or an animal. So if you have those, you should have another option. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I'll get it tight enough." Well, do you want to take that chance if your kid is bleeding to death?
Right.
So,
you just want the other one that
so you know where that comes from, right?
Uh-huh.
You have all these internet dudes that are brand loyal to whoever they're brand loyal to, right? They like Travis, or they like Chris, Costa, or they heard this guy, right? And you've got a lot of these dudes who have access now. The internet has given people access to things that they do not belong to. Mm-hmm. And you've got all these internet guys who are in like first and secondary, right? That's a group. It's some soft guys. Mm-hmm. I believe it's some soft guys, but there's some real actual medical dudes in there, right? And the whole thing is that the rat's tourniquet wasn't triple C tested or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not blessed by the tourniquet gods. And it's not blessed by the tourniquet gods because it doesn't have a windlass. Uh-huh. It has to have a windlass. It has to have that wind-up crank for them to fuck with it. So they won't even test it or acknowledge it. But the dude who owns rats or did own rats is a fucking 18 Delta dude. He's an actual fucking dude who has fucking changed governments around the world. Mm-hmm. And he created and makes this thing or put his name to it somehow. I don't know the complete history of it. But when you put that tourniquet on and you check it with the Doppler radar shit, it stops the blood flow, right? There is no fucking heartbeat beyond it. So it works, and we know they work. Now, here's where those things are really nice. A lot of dudes and your wife is not going to fucking carry a soft T or a rat's tourniquet or a cat tourniquet. They're just not. Mm-hmm. But you can take this little fucking thing and put it on their keychain, and they will have a tourniquet every place they have their keys. Mm-hmm. It literally is the size of a couple of keys. Yeah. Whereas the rat or the cat I keep saying rat, the cat, and we can throw TK4 in there too, guys. The TK4 tourniquet too. It'll fit in that little TK4 pouch that's on your dog leash, is on your keychain, is in your purse, wherever it's at. Whereas the smallest you're going to get, that cat tourniquet or that soft T, it can't get any smaller than the piece of aluminum or Delron, right? That windlass. So why not have both? Yeah, why are you so fucking rabid? You know what the best tourniquet to have is? The one you fucking have when you need it. Mm. And it's just like wearing armor. What's the best armor? The goddamn armor you have when you fucking get shot at. That's the best armor to have. Uh-huh. And if it's well, I'm buying level 4 plates because I might get hit with ep15pt2, whatever. But your wife isn't going to put that shit on, right? Mm-hmm. If you bought that for your child, they're going to pull that shit out of their fucking school backpack because it's heavy, and they're going to be able to put fucking 20 more Twinkies in that shit. They're like.
Along with that, you brought this up last week, and I don't remember if I got to say this or not, but with those big, heavy plates, try driving with those.
Absolutely.
You're gonna take them off in 10 minutes.
Well, not only driving, it's just the depth of it, right?
Yeah. Just moving around.
You've got not only that, you've got that, plus you've got mags on the front, and God forbid you have 6 mags instead of 3 mags on the front. It's just, and that's it, man. Like, you literally, there are some vehicles when guys get in them, they can't physically fit in them with their gear. Yeah. Yeah, everybody's like, I'm going to drive with night vision. Yeah, for about fucking 10 minutes you are.
Exactly.
Like, you're going to get sick. Like, you are not accustomed to it. Mm-hmm. People just don't realize, man, and they don't train for it.
That's like when it comes to all this stuff, like I know very little, but I do know some stuff. And what pisses me off the most is when people aren't willing to learn. Like, they just think they know, and what they're saying is bullshit.
Well, that goes back to the access, right? They are brand loyal to their favorite YouTube guy who said ABC or whatever, and they don't even have the equipment. Like, not only have they not tried it, they don't even have the equipment to try it with, and they don't know. It's so often, like I was saying on camera this morning, I was taking pumpkins and I was smashing them up. I was throwing them way up in the air and letting them bust open for the chickens. And the chickens were not really running up, excited to eat all the pumpkin seeds. And I said, you always hear that pumpkin seeds are a good dewormer for your chickens. And I said, I've never verified that, though. We could totally look this up and find out it's just some internet bullshit.
Yeah.
Because everybody says it. You always see it in the chicken forums, and you always see people like, hey, Halloween's over. Anybody wants to get rid of their pumpkins, I'll come get them because they're a good dewormer for my animals, and my animals like to eat them. Maybe. Or is it just some shit like, oh, no, you have to do a proper cornbread. It has to be done in a 4-inch cast iron pan.
Yeah.
Mom, why do we do this in a cast iron pan? Because that's the pan your grandma gave me.
Because that's the way we've always done it.
Well, why did she do it? Because that's the only pan she had. And we've just said this through generation to generation. So test things, man. We have tested so much shit people told us we couldn't do, and it's working perfectly.
Yeah.
Better than a lot of stuff people said we should do. And oftentimes the people telling you to do it, when you look, they don't have it. They just they don't know.
Well, I always kind of, if I'm talking to somebody in person, I give them a little bit more credit. But if it's online, I'm just thinking, you really have time to pick an argument with me online? Shouldn't you be doing something that you're talking about doing?
Yeah. And it's just access, man.
Yeah.
We have allowed people to have access. The internet has given people access. And every time somebody says something, you want to be correct, right?
Yeah.
And you might even believe, you might not even question it, right? Like the deworm thing. But then they want to, and to reassure that they are correct, they will bring 3 pieces of supporting evidence, and they'll put links to 3 other guys saying the same thing. But when you click on those, the guy giving you the advice about the Ferrari and his 3 buddies that he's tagged in, you know what's nowhere in any of his fucking pictures? A fucking Ferrari, because the motherfucker with a Ferrari is proud of the Ferrari.
Yep.
They're going to show it to you.
Yep.
And that's just how everything, like especially medical shit, man. Everybody knows, everybody that tells you the medical story, my aunt's a nurse, or my cousin's goldfish is a nurse, or like there's always some bullshit.
We were talking about this the other day because I'm trying to get Annie to realize that the only class she's taken is fighting pistol.
Yes.
She is more trained than most people.
She's more trained than 95% of the people in the world.
And I was showing her, because, she comes from the world where cops are trained. And so I was showing her
cops do not train.
Badge cam video of cops not knowing what to do at all. And it's like, think about this when somebody says, I don't need training because my husband's a cop. Watch this video where the guy has a double feed and stands up in the middle of a gunfight to run away because he can't figure out how to clear it, That kind of stuff. Boy,
they've been smoking some fools lately. Yeah. These motherfuckers with these butcher knives, there seems to be just an outbreak of them. A dude was shooting a nail gun at a cop the other day, and he dumped 15 rounds into this motherfucker. I'm like, that seems a little excessive. Like, I've shot nail guns at people, but apparently on the live feed the other night, dudes are like, oh yeah, I could totally shoot you in the head with a nail gun from 20 feet. I'm like, you have a different nail gun than I've got.
Yeah, and you have to have 2 hands on it, and you can't aim it, so like,
Could we not a stun gun? I mean, I wasn't there, so.
I mean, that's like a panic thing to get at best. Like, you're not planning on attacking somebody with a nail gun.
I don't know.
I don't know though, man.
I feel like if you come at me with a nail gun.
Oh yeah, like if somebody's trying to attack me with one, but I would never be like, yeah, I got my nail gun. I'll be
right.
okay.
Well, that's because you're sane. Somebody who is attacking a cop with a nail gun, I would say, is probably not sane.
Exactly.
But I mean, I don't think that there's an issue with responding with deadly force to that threat.
No, that is a deadly threat, but I just like you hit him a few times, and now he can't function that gun because you have to hold the safety back on him.
Not all of them. You can take it off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can easily negate that. All right, you need to go do lunch?
Yes, I need to go do lunch.
Away with you.
Away with you. Sorry, my stomach.
That happens to me a lot because I've got the stomach thing, and sometimes I feel it, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure that was me. I was like, I hope they don't hear that.
My stomach never rumbled until I had
You have to go make lunch.
stomach surgery, and then suddenly it was like all I could hear.
You didn't really have stomach surgery.
Well, they actually like operated on my actual stomach, like the organ, my stomach.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they most certainly did.
No, they didn't.
Okay. Then what did they do?
The esophagus.
Yes, they took my stomach and twisted it. The actual organ, my stomach.
I guess if you want to get technical.
I don't know if it's out yet, but I just edited a video of you guys. Like, what was it? It was I can't remember, and you gotta go. But you guys were arguing about like socks or something. Like, oh yeah, you don't have any ostrich socks? Is that what it is?
Llama.
Llama. And it was the most hilarious thing. You guys were like, yes, I do. No, you don't. Yes,
She
I
does.
Do. No,
She has a fucking pair. She swears she does not. I know I've bought multiple pairs of llama socks because I'm like, why the fuck did we buy $40 socks that you're never going to wear?
I'll have to look for them. I don't think I have them.
Are you going to go make lunch?
Yeah, but I'm not making it for you.
Get.
The real reason I'm making lunch is so that I have something to eat tonight.
What are you making?
Burritos.
I don't want that tonight.
I didn't say I was feeding you tonight. That's for me to eat tonight.
What's your stomach thing? You said you have the stomach thing.
I have a Crohn's disease.
You do?
So, yeah. So and I don't.
Did you diagnose this year? Go make lunch.
No, so I spent a year and a half. I'll show you some pictures of it. I am actually skinny, which, like, any diet isn't going to make me skinny, but this did. Every time I ate, first of all, it felt like my stomach was closed all the time, but I had to force myself to eat, and as soon as it was done, I would throw it back up. And nobody could figure out what was wrong with it, and I was living in LA, so my parents didn't see me go through all this. But I went home one day, like I went to visit, and my mom's was one of the head nurses at a hospital. Like, she had pull there.
See, there it is.
So she called the emergency room doctor and said, I'm bringing my son. You're going to fix him now. And when we got there, the doctor was waiting in the room for me, and they scoped me and said, it looks like Crohn's, but we want to make sure. So they had me swallow a camera. And then in 2 days, I went back and like, yeah, you have Crohn's. And it was a pill. I just had to take a pill and I was fixed. But I spent a year in agonizing pain.
And a pill fixed it.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember exactly what the drug was, but that's what it was. And now if I eat shit that I shouldn't, like if I have too many nuts are a snack that I like to eat for the other way that I eat. But if I have too many of them, I get that, but I know what it is, so I just stop. And then like the worst it's ever been since then is like 3 days, and then it clears right back up.
So Aaron Little has Crohn's.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he said that, I seem to recall him telling me corn really fucks him up. It's
things that, because your stomach gets perforated, so it's things that can get stuck where they shouldn't be.
So that almost sounds like, not colitis, ulcerative colitis.
Yeah, so they kind of go together.
There's another one, I can't remember the name of it. And it gets in like the little pockets in your intestines.
Yeah, that's what happens to me. And then it swells up so much that nothing can happen. So that's why, like, you ever see
diverticulitis.
You see these commercials about, if you have Crohn's disease, that means you can't be far away from the bathroom. That's not the way it is for me. When I have a flare up, I can't eat or shit. Like, it just shuts down.
Huh.
So it's like the opposite of what the commercials say. But luckily, once I got that cleared up, it's like nothing that I have to really deal with anymore.
Right on. All right, well, we'll pause these. Let's we'll go do some other shit for right now. I got a Marine Corps birthday.
Yeah.
I've got that and we can put this in here.
Yeah, that's why I kept it going.
I've got that crayon pouch. We bought 500 packages of crayons, I think. And I can't find the damn sample. I gave one to Jeff, and then I had the sample, and I can't find it. So I've got to rebuild that. And then she's running embroidery for a Marine Corps birthday. I think we're doing like a tool bag light. And then we've got this pouch, little tiny, is small, holds like, I think it's 7 crayons. Mm-hmm. And you can Velcro it on your armor carrier, so you have crayons on your armor carrier. Yeah.
I was telling the girls, because we were talking about the Marine Corps birthday, and since that word doesn't mean anything to them, they didn't hear it properly, and they were like, what does that mean? And so I broke it down to them, and then I started telling them about Lance, like how they would just drop. They'd make them jump out of a helicopter in Mexico and swim back to San Diego, and they were all impressed about it. So like, it's exciting that I get to tell them about these guys that I actually know. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
Trying to tear us down, but me and my team, the